I think you're going to be very hard pressed to meet a Trinidadian who is not, or Trinbagonian who has not benefited from what happened there. You just look at the whole period of governance by the PNM. Dr. Williams from 56 to 62, George Chambers 81 to 85, Manning from 91 to 95, and then from 201 to 210, and Dr. Rowley right now.
Yeah, because you have remember we established with the University of Trinidad and Tobago. But there's also a significant point here. When Dr. Williams was around, there was a question who we going to put in. Remember that? Well, in 1981, when he died, George Chambers came on the scene, and he was able to manage the country with $9 a barrel. And the country, the people were not happy. And they were promised, they got so much promises. But we lost in 1986, and when Mr. Manning took over, he worked hard, very hard, and brought us back into government in 1991. And we were able to rescue Trinidad, similar to what is taking place now, where we have taken reins of the country at a time when the situation is just terrible because of the mishandling of the situation by the previous government for the last 5 years and 3 months.
And then also the uncertainty of the world market. I mean, you drop it from $108 all the way down to, what are we now, about $27 a barrel. I mean, that is a precipitous drop, and we are not the only country in the world. Many countries all across the world having the problem. But when you made the reference to $9 a barrel, where Mr. Chambers had to continue governance against that sort of scenario, we are looking at greater expectations now.
Yeah.
We are looking at a development that has gone. The question to you is, in the 2016 PNM under Dr. Rowley, with the prices of oil taking the dip we just articulated, how willing you think, first of all, how well understood by the general populace is the issue of oil prices, how it will undermine a lot of our plans that you have, and how are they going to accept, how willing you think they are, and that's why I ask about the understanding first, to accept the medication, because this is going to be some bitter medication.
Well, it is almost as identical to what Dr. Williams said in 56. He used the same analogy of a doctor taking care of his patients. Need a proper doctor. Well, he was playing on words there.
Yes.
And it is the same situation now. They need a proper doctor now. And it is Dr. Rowley who would be leading us here. And we have to adjust with our manifesto. Our manifesto catered for a situation where Trinidad would have been at maybe $50 or $45, still would have been able to survive. But it plummeted to where it is now. And we are on the verge as a government to readjust. And we have already started the adjustment. And in March, you will see the new economic situation unfolding, the new way forward unfolding. But there are some key elements that will be coming out in terms of the education and job security, health, and labor.
The General Secretary of the PNM, Ashton Forde, is my guest this morning. I want to go into another area of this, in the area that these... I'm going to quote Dr. Williams on this specifically because it addresses something that I think was at the bottom, the underlying factor in addition to crime in the last election. The father of our nation, Prime Minister Dr. Eric Williams, said he's putting together a democratic party of men and women of honesty and incorruptibility of all races, colors, classes, and creed, with a coherent and sensitive program, or rather that should be a sensible program of economic, social, and political reform aimed at the development of the community as a whole, dedicated to its service, appealing to the intelligence rather than the emotions of the electorate. My question is this: corruptibility. Incorruptibility is what the doctor strove for. That was the foundation of a lot of questions leading into the last election, and a lot of questions now that we have. I think everywhere there's a probe, some way or the other.
Well, in our case, it is the ideal situation where we would have liked, and we too have suffered from that as a party. But, well, we have to deal with that in a particular way, and we have always been able to identify persons or citizens who we believe will serve the national community and their respective communities, and so on. Because if you look at the changes that took place between 56 and now, in terms of the constitution of the country, we also made changes in the constitution of the party. And we were able to link the both. That is to say, take Tobago, for example. at one point we were in opposition in Tobago for 20 years. And in order to get back into the leadership of Tobago, we had to change the constitution and give Tobago more autonomy and so on. And it went down to the people because we are the only national party that have Trinidad and Tobago. There's no other party that can say they have a structure in such a way that they cater for Trinidad and Tobago. We have done that. And once we give our party members the autonomy, the confidence risen from the people that they too will, as a government, will give them the autonomy, and that is what they have been asking for, and we are on the road to give them the self-government.
I like that array of confidence because confidence in governance is something that's really important.
Yes,
Folks have to get back a sense, and how big a challenge is it for the citizenry to once again feel that they can have confidence in those governing them?
Yeah,
and how was your party proposing to address that?
We have to look at, you would see the urgency with dealing with certain national issues. Witness protection program, a commissioner of police, and so on. Once you deal with the issues that the country has been, the citizens have been calling for, and you demonstrate your political will to do it, it will build confidence in the people. And I know that the opposition will do everything possible to stymie that. But we have been able to do that over the years. We have been able to put forward our programs. In 1956, we had the People's Charter. In the 70s, we had the Chagrama's Declaration. In the 80s, we had the 80s and beyond. And then we had Vision 2020. And now we have... So we have always prepared the country, demonstrated to the country, rather, that we are prepared to go to the long haul, not short-term measures. But in between there, of course, there will be changes as you go along.
Of course, there are many people who say this is the preeminent party in the region, having maintained its moorings all these years, have not moved from it, and still continue. You refuse to do accommodation of bringing people in for the expediency of winning an election. You decided that you're staying where you are.
It's over 50 parties have competed against us for the 1956.
50 parties over 60 years. Yes,
and we have been, and they all try to take our constitution. They try to follow us, and the strength of the party is in the organization of the party. For example, I've been there for 5 years, over 5 years now, and there is not one single month we will miss a general council meeting or a central executive meeting. And then you have the parliamentary arm, the legislative group. So that when you have a structure like that and it goes down to the constituency group, the constituency executive, and the party group. And as General Secretary, I have to ensure that these organs function. We also have standing committees, labor, education, foreign affairs, and so on. So we also have standing committees of the party that breaks down the work. So when you put all this together, and the country sees a party functioning, they
then
know
the
that is the
confidence
party
will
to govern the country.
I got you. 25 minutes after 10 o'clock inside Brunch from 107.7. Mr. General Secretary, crime at the top of everybody's agenda. There are many people who do politics with tragedy, and crime is a tragedy. It does not matter which government is in power. Folks, however, are looking at this upsurge and are very, very concerned. I'll be talking to my next guest on that issue. That's Hal Graves, and lecturer Rhoda Barat will be joining me. We will talk about that. But I must ask you, as General Secretary, you are, as the Prime Minister is, I am sure, alarmed at what has been going on. As the General Secretary of the party, and I know this would be best fitted to the Minister of National Security or somebody like that, but as the General Secretary of the party, how do you respond to folks saying the upsurge, some folks saying the upsurge is a result of the PNM?
No, that is utter nonsense. And it's not the first time we are facing this situation. Let's go back again to 56. When you had violence in those days, it was cutlass and so on, steel band clash and so on, and Dr. Williams saw it fit to found a method of cooling it down. And what he did is he sponsored steel band, organized Panorama. We have Panorama today, and it's a so coincidence that parties
the anniversaries on the same day.
Same day with Dr. And the point I'm making, however, is that we have to find a way to deal with the situation.
Yes.
I will not say solve it, because it will be a long way from being solved overnight. And we are only there less than 5 months. And Dr. Rennie took the position over the weekend here, And I think we have to give it a chance for the work. And there may be other strategies in the pipeline, which, of course, it will not be a strategy if it is revealed.
If it is revealed, yes, indeed.
So that I believe that we will be dealing with this situation in a positive way. And we'll wait and see.
We, the nation, we're looking forward to that. So 60 years today, January 24th, 1956, party was launched. Dr. Williams was at the helm. We have gone through a number of Prime Minister Dr. Williams, as I mentioned, stayed all the way through until 1981. Mr. Chambers took over for 4 years. Patrick Manning, well, we lost after Mr. Chambers. That's the one that the PNM lost. And the Patrick Manning held the reign from 91 to 95, then 2001 to 2010, as aforementioned. Dr. Rowley is at the helm now. So in this celebration and against this backdrop, you are having an event. What is the event you're having?
We're having a year-long event in recognition of the 60th anniversary. We're going to honor some of the old members, old stalwarts and so on, and people who work hard on the field and so on, who may not be in the forefront, but we also have earmarked the library, the old library next to City Hall, to house Dr. Williams, which is now lodged at the University of the West Indies. It will be open to the public, and the whole library will be transformed into Dr. Williams' house, library, memorial. And every constituency will be called upon to organize an activity and so on. And then we have our building fund, which was launched earlier this year, last year, sorry. We are going to put up our new building at Valdez House there. So we have a lot of activities planned.
So you were able to raise the money
we are raising the money.
You're still
and
raising
one of
the money,
our key members, the deputy leader for party and election matters, Ms. Joan Yule Williams, is heading that committee. And when the time comes, she will announce all the plans for the celebration.
You also have a little distinction yourself, as quiet as it's kept. You were, the youngest mayor when you were in Arima? You were the youngest mayor?
29 years at the time. But that is in keeping with the party's, remember in 1971, Mr. Manning was 24 years. In 1962, 63, I think Errol Mahabir was 30 years when he was mayor of San Fernando.
There was a minister of sport at the time. He was a very young fellow.
Yeah, Ian
Anthony.
Right? He was 19 years in 1976.
That's right, I remember. Yes.
So we had a lot of young people, and I'm just in that fold.
And you're still maintaining that. Well, I wish you the best in this year of celebration. Any final parting words you want to pass on to our listeners? You have a fundraiser coming up or a celebration party or something?
On the 2nd of February, we have a big the annual carnival fete. This year it is at the Jean Pierre Complex because of the crowd, the logistics at Bally's House. We cannot cope with it anymore.
Yeah, that car park is not big enough.
No. And we have, it's $200, and then we have an all-inclusive section for people like Rhoda and yourself.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Right. And this is on the 2nd of February.
Yes. And all the top bands will be there and so on, Ola Tunji and others,
Well, I like this because it is really a celebration for 60 years. It's a great event, and I know folks will come out. Those interested in information, I guess, they can contact.
Bally's House have tickets, San Fernando have tickets, and in Central we have tickets, all over Arima. So it is all over where you can get the tickets. It's selling as hot bread, so you better go fast and get
Talking about selling like hot bread, when you walked up to the studio this morning, I thought you were supporting a band when I looked at that jersey you had on, and then you said, this is the new look. Well, what's up with this?
This is a Balizian thing, man. This is a jersey designed for young people, man.
Oh. And that's why you're wearing it, right?
Yes, sir.
General Secretary of the PNM, Ashton Forde, thank you for taking the time to be with us. You're going up to the Savannah?
Yes, of course.
And who are you supporting? He's from Arima, so he's got to say Arima. Okay.
All my life. And as Eric Williams says, service the community, service the nation.
Yes, I'm still going for Rados, by the way, just that you know.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Okay, it's the way it is. Mr. General Secretary, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here, man.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.